Hey everybody, we are teaching Vermillion, and this time we're going to make some straight lines. That's right, freehand we tend to be a little wobbly, but there are some tools built into Vermillion to get that perfectly straight line. Whether you're painting a building or a Mondrian style painting, we can get those straight lines that we're looking for. Now I've got a dark background so that we can see these a little bit better, but I'm just going to grab a nice flat brush. And we're going to paint with this guy, and we're going to make some nice straight lines. I'm even going to load it up with some bright red. So normally, if we're just going freehand, it may or may not be perfectly straight. Might be a little bit wobbly there. We've seen how you can do a single press of the second button on your painting hand. In my case, it's the B button in my right hand, and that activates the hand stabilizer. So if I activate that now, when I move, my brush is going to go a little bit slower. It's still not perfectly straight, but there are fewer wobbles if I'm careful. Whereas this way, without the stabilizer at all, it might be very wobbly indeed. So we're going to use a tool to make it even more precise. And it's going to use the same button. Instead of a single press, I'm going to hold the button down. And now you can see that white line on the canvas. That's in relation to my brush. As I move my controller around, I can move that white line. When I let go, if I move my brush to the canvas, it's going to have to follow that line. So if I want it vertical, I just hold the button down and rotate till it's vertical. Let go, and now I will paint on that vertical line. So we've got this tool, straight edge tool. Even if you move away to get more paint, when you come back, that line will still be in the same place. Now there are a couple of tricks here. When you create that line, I'm going to click to turn it off. When you create that line, the moment you press that button, the angle of your brush will be locked. So you won't be able to rotate the brush or change the angle. So make sure when you come in at first, before you press, I want it to be that way. So now I hold it down, and even as I move my hand around, you can see the brush is locked at that direction. So now I've got my line, and my brush stays locked. Even if I don't touch the canvas, my brush stays locked at that angle. I'll need to turn it off, re-angle the brush, and then try to get that line again. Now I can come in with my brush at a different angle. But that's going to lock the moment you press that button and hold it down. So make sure you get your brush nice and comfortable at the angle you want to paint. There, hold it down, get it the direction I want. Now my brush will stay at that angle relative to the canvas. You'll want to play with it and try it a few times. Single press to turn it off, hold it down to activate. Straight edge. Now, the other thing about this is you can see it doesn't always go edge to edge, so it can be tough to tell if you actually have it horizontal or actually have it vertical. One thing that will actually help is if you, let's get some fresh paint here, make your canvas, let's turn it off, and make my canvas smaller. Now when I go in with that tool, you can actually see how the lines go edge to edge. Now it's a little more clear when I have it perfectly vertical. Not quite. Try it again. There, that's nice. Now I can paint a nice vertical stripe. So by making it smaller, I can see the end points touch the edges, which helps me better visualize. Even if I then go in and change the size, let's get my brush down for a moment and change the size, pick that brush back up, but you'll notice I did lose the line. So it doesn't let you change while you've got that line in place very much. But now that it's big, it's a little harder for me to judge if it's well horizontal. So before I go in, I'm going to make it smaller. Now I can see if it's nice and horizontal. Oops, no. That's better. And now I can get a nice horizontal line. Straight edges. Now there's actually two flavors of this. This is called the ruler, and it gives you a perfectly straight edge, but that's not always what you want. There is a second flavor, big number 2 here, so people just skipping through the video can see something else is happening. But this is called a wrist support, or maulstick. Not maul as in tear it up, but M-A-H-L, maulstick. Again, this is for all the people skimming so they can see that there's something interesting. This acts as a wrist stabilizer, so I can move my hand on a straight line, but not the brush itself. Huh? Let's see what the heck we're talking about here. So let's get rid of our extra graffiti, get some fresh paint on the brush. So I'm going to activate the straight line tool. Let's switch to the headset so you can see what this looks like. We've got it on the ruler setting, and we're going to show you how it looks when you go to wrist support. So here we go to headset view. So here we are in our headset view. And you can see in our messaging, if I just tap my B button, that's our hand stabilizer. And I'm going to hit the button again to turn it off. Let's get some paint on here. Now I'm going to hold the button down and I've got my ruler. Here's where we change between ruler and wrist support. Ruler is where you're stuck to only painting on that line. Wrist support. Sometimes you may have trouble pointing at it with your paintbrush if it keeps getting stuck, so you can use your other hand to point for wrist support. But wrist support, so I'm going to hold down B and get that line. Now you can see I'm stuck to the line, but the brush itself can move. So let's get some paint. This is so I can do things like if I wanted to put in writing or an ocean wave. Now I can reset my line. Whoops, let's get some more paint here. Reset the line here. Wrist support along this one. Reset the line here. And wrist support along this one. So you can see how it helps me keep consistent pattern even if I'm not actually going for a straight line. I do want to go for a straight row of symbols or rows of ocean waves. Or anytime I want to do detailing roughly parallel or in some kind of line, let's make it over here, we'll do it vertically, load it up with some color, and now we'll do little marks going up in a nice consistent column up here. So wrist support as opposed to ruler. Let's go back to normal view now that you see how that works for closing this thing up. Okay, so there we have either painting actual straight lines with the ruler version, or just having even rows and columns or diagonals or whatever angle, but using the wrist support maulstick to make sure your general arm is following the same pattern. So your brush can do details, but keeping the line consistent. Straight lines in oil painting. These are features in Vermillion, the VR oil painting app from the Aviary. I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments below if you have questions or if there are other things you'd like us to do lessons about. Have fun oil painting, everybody. We'll see you next time.